Hey friends, Tuxx here. The holiday season is here, and it seemed definitely time to do another video about Figma collecting. I want to talk a little bit about fakes versus real ones. There's been a lot of attention on that lately in my other video. I do have a previous video on this subject matter, and I want to talk just basically about basics of spotting real ones versus fakes, and even like, is it okay to collect fakes? There's a lot of questions about that, and I want to cover my opinion on it. Now, I have had a few different things happen to my Figma collection over the years, and sometimes it's not to the fake, sometimes it's the real one, so we'll talk about that too. But the purpose of this video basically is to show an assortment of different characters. I'm sure you recognize a few of these guys from different animes, and I do have a lot more collection too, but I just wanted to show some good things and some bad things, so I kind of picked a random assortment for you, okay? Now, first off, your basic question probably is, Tuxx, how can I spot a fake, okay? Before I show my tips, I do want to say, disclaimer, it's okay to collect fakes, okay? I mean, figures actually are pretty expensive. I mean, basically these start from around $50 to $100. Sometimes the more rare ones, as they've been out for a while, sometimes it can be actually really hard to find them, and the value goes up, you know? So eBay is one place to find older Figmas of animes you love, but also, you know, buyer beware, that's actually a haven for fakes as well too. So you have to be really careful. You know, if you see some great Figma on eBay for about $20 or something, odds are it's probably a fake. Now, you could get that lucky great deal, you just don't know. You know, it's kind of a roll of dice to see what happens, but in general, if it's a seller who's selling 1 million of the same one Figma, you know, it probably is a fake. And it's okay to buy a fake, you know. Some people would argue, say, oh, fakes are bad for the community, you know, they don't pay the real artists, all that good stuff. I agree, okay, it's definitely better to get a real one if you can afford it, okay? But I've known people who actually see my Figma collection, and they see how expensive they are, and they're like, oh my gosh, like I would never spend $70 on like a little figure or $100 or whatever. And maybe they have a favorite anime character and they would very much appreciate, you know, a fake one. And if they want to buy one on eBay for $20 or you'll get one as a gift, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The downside to fakes, okay, is, you know, sometimes is kind of a gateway where, you know, the money doesn't go to the actual creators, which that is bad, okay? Disclaimer, that's bad. But sometimes people will actually buy a fake, and then later when they can afford it, they'll buy the real one, you know? So actually it does help kind of build the community, and that's what I want to say here is that, you know, if you do buy fakes, there's nothing wrong with it. I have fakes in my collection too. Sometimes I've gotten them, I don't want to say by accident, but kind of like swindled little shenanigans at play, and you order one on eBay and you think it's real and it's fake. And there's not too much you can do about that. It's luck of the draw. Some vendors will work with you if you do get a fake. Some vendors may deny it. And some vendors may openly say, you know, if you ask them a question on eBay, say, hey, is this legit? They might be like, oh, I don't really know. Wink, wink, you know, like, they'll sometimes tell you to. So don't be afraid to ask a question on eBay or at a con or wherever you might want to buy Figmas. Now, if you're going to like a legitimate anime shop, you know, no matter if it's US, Japan, wherever, odds are they're probably real ones, okay? They're not gonna, hopefully the vendor would not like mark one up to like 80 or $100 and have it be just a complete straight out fake. But, you know, there's a few clues to look for, and we'll talk about those right now. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about as far as finding fakes is the scale. Now, this one here, I think is legit, actually. This is actually, believe it or not, this is my very first Figma. And this one, I love this one so much. Yuki, it was a thing where I wasn't really collecting these, and I got it for Christmas, and it was a really welcome gift, you know. Feel free to, like, gift, you know, Figmas to people. Just make sure you pick out a character they really enjoy. And in this case, it was my first Figma, and I really like this Figma a lot. It comes with a lot of attachments and accessories and things, which are not in this video, and I could show that, but unfortunately, I'd have to dig like crazy for the box, so I'm not going to do that to save time and get this video up as quickly as possible. But she came with a witch's hat and all sorts of great stuff. Now, the only thing weird about this Figma is the fact, two things. One is the scale's a little bit weird, okay? So here we have Hiroti, you know, and here we have Yuki, and you can see the size is just a little bit off, you know, which is a little bit weird, you know, so that might be a clue that this could be a fake. Now, another thing about this one is the joints are a little bit loose, like, you can see how they like kind of flop around a little bit. That could be a sign of being a fake. Now, all the attachments, like the hair and everything, are definitely very solid, so that makes me believe it's real. Again, I don't have the box and everything. I want to say it was all legit, but I'd have to find it to know for sure. This was given to me quite a while ago, but it's one of my most cherished ones, just because it's one of my original ones, and maybe needs a little cleaning too, you know. But very, very cool. But the scale is one thing to watch. Does it match the scale of the other Figmas? Now, most Figmas are fake, do match the scale, but it's just one thing to kind kind of consider. And I don't have a stand for this one. Now, this one here is definitely a fake, okay? This one, I talked about this one in my previous video, and it's still holding up pretty well, as you can see. This was purchased off eBay for about 20 bucks, okay? And I want to say I maybe even got a free one from Bobo's if you go through my old videos, and I gave away in one of my giveaways, you know, knowing that it's a fake. Now, a few things to watch out for with fakes. The thing I mentioned last time, which still holds very true, if you talk to people at cons, one of the biggest clues, the biggest tells that's a fake is the stand, okay? And the stand on a fake, let me show you here. It doesn't say Figma on it, okay? And this sounds really crazy coming from Western culture, but a real Figma stand does say Figma on it, as you can see. Figma, okay? Can you see that? It's kind of hard to see in the light, I know. This stand, no Figma. Now, it could have some other information on it, China, blah, 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 you know, but it's not quite the same, you know. But the thing is that apparently in China, this is what was told to me by numerous vendors, is that while it's okay to make a counterfeit fake, which is crazy in Western culture, they can't do the name brand. They can't put Figma on it, even though on the stand. So that is a clue, a warning sign that maybe it's fake. Now, if some, you know, vendor really wanted to be tricky, could they put a real Figma stand in a fake box? Sure they could, you know, so that's something you have to kind of keep in mind too, is that maybe they just swap the stand out or something. They got a whole bunch of Figma stands from some animes that don't sell and stuck them in with some good characters, you know, so they have the official Figma stand. Now, Figma stands do have one problem I find. Sometimes these do break, which is bad. See this little peg here? This one is intact, it's all good, you know, but oftentimes what happens is they snap off. This is a legit Figma stand too, so just because it breaks, they get brittle in time. Figma stands tend to break in time. So just be really gentle with your Figmas, you know, don't be throwing them around or whatever, because even a real one could actually break. So that's not necessarily to me a sign of being fake, but it's just a sign of it being older and perhaps being handled a little rougher than perhaps it should have been or something, you know. But you can fix that too. But anyway, we'll put this down for right now. So number one thing is the stand. Now, another clue to it being fake is the box, okay? Every time I've gotten fake Figmas, this is a fake Figma off eBay, the boxes don't look quite right, okay? Sometimes, like, this one's dinged up. I mean, it came that way. It looks legit. I mean, basically, they'll actually, like, laser scan the whole thing and put it on there, and so it will look kind of legit, but sometimes the boxes are a little weird looking, like this one has all sorts of dings that came that way, and it even says official Figma, you know? Sometimes the actual scan looks a little bit grainier. Like, see, there's all sorts of, like, little dots here. Even if you feel it, it feels kind of rough to the touch. It's, like, not as quality as an actual Figma box, okay? The back doesn't look too bad, you know? But again, like, even, like, the picture on the front here, this looks on the side, it looks a little bit, like, kind of, like, washed out. The colors are vibrant, but it looks a little dull, like, not as crisp as an actual Figma. Now, this is an actual Figma box, okay? And you can see, like, the picture on the side, very sharp, very clear. I wish I had the same box. Unfortunately, I don't. But you can see that this is, like, a little more washed out, okay, than this one. And so that's just another clue, not a guarantee, but a clue it could be fake. Now, one thing that's very important is the seal. You'll see that all the legit ones I have here, these examples, all have, like, a little hologram sticker, okay? And that's another thing that in China and these countries, oftentimes the fakes, to help perhaps, you know, ward off any kind of legal problems, is they won't usually have a hologram on them. So you can see this fake one here actually does not have a hologram on the box. And again, the box feels, texture's a little bit weird, the picture's a little fuzzier, like there's like different little clues that this is not an actual real Figma. And you can tell from the real Figma box again, hologram, great looking pictures, good side art, better quality box. It's just one more clue that it's an actual real Figma. Now, when you open a real Figma box, too, it should have a little sticker, but sometimes, you know, maybe it was opened at a con or something, and it happens, you know. On the inside here, you should get lots of accessories. You can tell this one here, they're usually wrapped in plastic. That comes with different faces. She's got a little guitar sack and, like, a little hand bag here. And usually has, like, about 8 different little hands. It may vary depending upon the character, but usually it's 8. And then another clue for you is the baggie, okay? This is another little touch, but something to really watch. On the inside, there's usually an official Figma bag, and check this out. As crazy as this, the bag says Figma, okay? So if you get a, one from some other third-party company, it probably has a baggie maybe, but the bag probably won't say Figma, okay? So again, they could stick in a Figma bag in a fake box. Sure, they could, but it's just another clue that there could be something a little weird about this particular, fake or whatever. So if it has the official hologram, if the stand says Figma, if the box looks right, if the bag says Figma, those are all good signs that you're probably getting a real Figma, But again, some sellers can be really tricky to try and get that top dollar for a fake Figma. And it does happen. If it happens, don't be discouraged. Don't sell to anyone else saying it's real, just be legit about it, and just live and learn. I know I've gotten a few fake Figmas over the years, but in general, I'm real careful, and I really try not to get anything but the legit Figmas, because I don't mind spending the money, and also because I really like the collection to last. Now, when I say last, I mean last. Like, if you look at my previous video, actually, I was using these Sword Art line figures as an example. And this one actually is pretty good. If you give it a shake test, you'll see that most of the parts don't come off, okay? But I kid you not, the love interest here, all I have left of her is part of the cape and the hair, because they're so loose. Parts were just flying off her left and right. It was almost impossible to keep her accessories and stuff on. And figures are really made to be good quality. Like this one here, you can see, they put a lot of time and effort into making sure the accessories, the guitar, everything from, like, there's a little pick in her hand there. The hair moves, but it stays in, it doesn't shake off, So anyway, it's really great, the amount of effort that they put into making these Figmas, like really cool, representations of the anime. And so it's good to have real ones, because again, the fake ones, although you might get lucky sometimes, the fake ones tend to fall apart more easily. So just if you do get a fake, kind of buyer beware that you should try and take extra good care of it, to make sure it stays together. I've even heard some people actually gluing, on fakes, actually gluing the pieces together and just making it kind of stationary if you keep having hair fall off or an arm fall off or something, different ones, especially the ones with more intricate pieces, are probably going to be the fakes that have more problems for you. But again, there really is nothing wrong with owning a fake. I can't say that enough, so please no hate on me. I know that everyone has different budgets and that kind of thing, but if possible down the road, you can always buy the real one if you want, So anyway, I know there's two sides to that coin, to that argument about fakes versus reals, but I hope this video helps you a little bit. If you have any questions, please let me know. I've been a big fan of collecting Figmas over the years. They're really fun to collect, and I'll tell you that a lot of these actually were gifts. So, I love to get Figmas, fantastic gifts. My biggest, advice for giving Figmas to someone would be just make sure you kind of check out their collection and make sure you're not giving them a double, because it can be a little confusing, especially if you're not familiar with the animes they collect. Now, one final thought, if you're giving an anime figure, but it doesn't have to be Figma. There is some other good options. Figma is kind of the biggest name for a lot of these figures, but again, the fakes, oftentimes, like, hair will fall off, you start losing pieces real easily, but there's some really great, like, little statues, kind of like, not statues like stone, but, plastic figures that are like one solid piece with a stand, which are really nice looking and make a great gift and aren't real expensive too. So that's another option for you. And sometimes there's bigger scale ones, smaller scale ones, like from crank machines, that kind of thing. So, there's a lot of options that you can buy. Just the main thing is just definitely try and pick an anime of the gift receiver that they collect, which is great, and that way it's something that they'll definitely add to their collection and appreciate. So a lot of fun, so much fun collecting Figmas. I've been a big fan of these over the years. I love the smell. People comment about this, that when you get a brand new Figma, I believe they smell like Play-Doh. When you open up a Figma box and give it a little sniff, it doesn't take a lot of effort either, because it's pretty impressive Play-Doh smell that kind of wafts out of the box. That could be a sign that it's a real Figma too, at least to me. But let me know if you collect Figmas. I'm really curious about your collection. I may show some more Figmas, and if I get some Figmas for the holidays, I may do some unboxings too. And I know there's some I want to buy on my own as well coming up down the road. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching this video. Thank you very much. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and be sure to say enter me or enter me senpai for the name and the hat for my next giveaway. I'll have more information about that coming up before Christmas, okay? All right, friends, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.